Thank you all. For those of you too polite to look at your phones, the Mavericks beat the Spurs by 1 on Vince Carter's 3 at the buzzer. The Heat is leading the Bobcats, and UVA is down. Number 1 UVA is down 2-0 to Florida State in baseball. As my colleagues here will attest, the media is rarely, if ever, the story. And that journalism adage is most appropriate tonight. Just look at this lineup. Rondé, if justice is served, this won't be your last Hall of Fame. You are among the NFL's all-time best, and Camp is calling you. A little closer to the mic. Tisha, I used to think Nancy Lieberman was the gold standard of women's basketball point guards. Then I saw you play at Old Dominion. Sean, the mayor. Most of us dream about hitting 300 in high school, or maybe college. You did it over 12 years in the show, and you hit over 400 in the postseason. Marty, where are you, Marty? Here you go. From baseball player to baseball coach to now as athletic director, you have served Norfolk State with grace and distinction. And in 2011-12, NSU was one of only 2 schools in the country to reach the National Football Playoffs and advance in the NCAA basketball tournament. I don't know about y'all, but when the Spartans beat Missouri, they torched my bracket. Natasha, Olympic gold, the most coveted bling in all of sports. Most athletes get to compete for a championship each year. You Olympians know that one hiccup, just one, can dash your dreams for 4 years. I can't imagine that pressure. Lou, there are countless coaches here tonight, and I'm betting every one of them would take your 17 consecutive winning seasons. Enduring excellence is the true test, and you aced it. So please, let's keep tonight's focus where it belongs, and that's not on a balding keyboard jockey whose max bench press is his 30-pound daughter. The only things I have in common with these great athletes and coaches and administrators are an abiding love for sports, that crazy obsession that bonds us even in the worst of times, and an enduring gratitude to my teammates. The Daily Press has been my team for 30 years, and in concert with Virginia's remarkable sporting landscape, has given me a career, a job that is far more fun than it is work. Dozens of Final Fours, ACC basketball tournaments, college football bowls, an Olympics, a Super Bowl, a Ryder Cup. Sometimes I just want to pinch myself at my good fortune. But when you spend this much time together, stuff happens. Life, death, sickness, health. The newspaper's support has been unwavering, reflected tonight here by Digby Solomon, Marisa Porto, Ryan Gilchrist, Andy Petrini, and Lynn Burke. But 2 comrades demand special mention. Dave Johnson and Dave Fairbank have been my partners in crime almost from the start. I'll never match DJ's compassion as a writer or Fairbank's humor, and guys, I am blessed and privileged to call you friends. Coaches say fatigue makes cowards of us all. Well, DJ Fairbank and I can attest that deadline makes fools of us all. We've mangled syntax, we've omitted final scores and misspelled more names than we care to admit. My most memorable oops came years ago One morning when I walked into the sports department and saw my byline prominently displayed in the sports section. One problem, I hadn't written that story. Somehow, some way, my colleague Mike Minium had written a story that carried my byline. And with priceless timing, Mike looked at me and said, "Best thing you've ever written." I'm proud to join many media colleagues here in the hall. Bill Brill, Bill Millsaps, George McClellan, Jennings Cully, Bob Moskowitz, Al Pierce, Bob Rathman, Jim Deucebella, Deuce, Jerry Lindquist, and Bill Roth. Then there's you, athletes, coaches, administrators, and hundreds of others not here tonight. Many Hall of Famers, some not, doesn't matter. Compelling and cooperative subjects are the oxygen and water of the storytelling biz, and in that regard, I am richer than Warren Buffett. In the room, Mike London, Kurt Newsom, Nancy Wren, Craig Littlepage, Paul Webb, Frankie Allen, and the Barbers. Not here, but not forgotten, Frank Beamer, Jim Weaver, George Welsh, Allen Iverson, Michael Vick, Jimmy Laycock, Curtis Strange, Terry Holland, Jeff Jones. I could go on. These folks shared their insights and stories. They answered questions in victory and defeat, in person and sometimes via text. And for that, I am in their debt. Now comes the best part, and the hardest. Family. Mom and Dad are watching tonight, together, from above, beaming and cackling over an only child who caused them so much heartburn, but whom they loved so completely. Dad took me to ballparks, stadiums, and arenas across the country, most notably to 25 straight Army-Navy football games. Coach Ross, you can appreciate what an honor that was. He left the sports section next to my pillow each morning, and when I was 9, he handed me a pencil and a piece of paper and said, "Son, why don't you write about these football games on television?" Sports writer. I've never wanted another job, and Mom was my most loyal reader. She was also my best editor. She could spot a comma splice from 4 paragraphs away. Then there's my family here tonight. My Baltimore crew, friends since junior high, Tom, Trish, Scott. The brothers and sister I never had. Tom and Trish have 2 children, my treasured godson and goddaughter, both former Division I lacrosse players, by the way. Thomas and Kendall, I could not be more proud of you. Then there's the family I never thought I'd have, the family for which my parents often prayed. There are many reasons I've remained in the 757. Chief among them, the good Lord had a plan. 5 years ago at the Daily Press, I met the beautiful Jill Green, an accomplished, versatile athlete who shares my sporting Jones. And in August of 2010, we can't do this during football season, Jill said. We were married. Enveloping me in a large family that embraced me, a newcomer, like one of their own, even though, let's face it, I am not out of central casting. Many of them are here. Chad, Pam and Ralph, Patty, and the most generous in-laws imaginable, Wayne and Kathy Green. 2.5 years ago, on the Friday evening that word came that Pittsburgh and Syracuse were joining the ACC, and as I tweeted that news from the maternity ward, Jill and I welcomed a daughter, our precious little bit. And the next afternoon, she watched her first college football game on television. Tonight I am humbled to be called a Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, but the recognition can never approach the honor of being Jill's husband and Laura's daddy. I love you, girls. Thank you all. Good night, and God bless.